Okay, so now we are going to start with the game theory. Game theory is your module 2. This is your module 2, first part of your module 2 of optimization technique OT2. Okay, so this is for NEP 2020 of Mumbai University. NEP 2020 of Mumbai University. So now let us see what is a game theory. The term game refers to a situation of conflict and competition in which two or more competitors are involved in the decision making process in anticipation of a certain outcome over a period of time. So let us say that if we have a game, so what is a game? Game is nothing but a conflict, conflict of interest or conflict of reasons, you can say. So this conflict is played between two players. Let us say that there is a player A and player B. So there is a player A and player B. So when we have a game theory, we say that there are two players. These two players are nothing but competitors. So these two are competitors. So these two competitors are competing for a conflict, which is the game, which is our game. And now when you have a conflict, we play the strategies. Based on these strategies, we are interested to get a certain outcome. So certain outcome is desired. So let us say if two teams are playing cricket, so let us say there is an team India and team Pakistan, let us say. So both are playing, but what is the outcome they want? They want to win the game. They want to win the game. So that is the certain outcome that is desirable, which is over a period of time. So now there is to be an over a period of time. You cannot have like forever you cannot play the game. Like even for the cricket, you may say that sir, there are certain short games like T20, then there is an ODI, then there is a test. So how do we decide which one is the game? What period of time? But for all these scenarios, we have a defined time period. We have a defined time period. We have a defined time period. So over a defined time period, we are trying to calculate the value of the outcome. We are trying to calculate the value of the outcome. So what is a game theory? Game theory allows us to create the value of outcome based on how much time period is being invested. Now, when we talk of game theory, basically game theory is nothing but a mathematical formulation to solve the conflict by a step-by-step form. So we have a mathematical formulation. So mathematical formulation is basically required. Now what are the examples? Examples can be there can be a various examples. Now for example, we'll say that the basic example that I have mostly given to my classes is say Pepsi. We have a PepsiCo, and then we have Coca-Cola. So we have either a PepsiCo and we have, sorry, just a second. We have PepsiCo and we have Coca-Cola. So let us say then there are different sub brands. We will not go into sub brands, but there are these two players. And what is the outcome they both are interested in? They both are interested in getting the market share. They both are interested in getting the market share. How much of how much of how much of sales they can achieve? So basically they are more interested in how much of sales they can achieve. So what we say, if Pepsi is say Pepsi is being sold at 10 rupees per bottle and Coca-Cola is 12 rupees, then these rates will affect the sales of both. Okay, since it is at a cheaper price, so since it is at a cheaper price, there will be some number of customers who will shift from Coke to Pepsi. There will not be like all may not shift, all may not shift, but some will definitely shift. Okay, why some? Because then there are some brand loyal people also. Then there are some brand loyal people also, which will be staying with their particular brand, but they are not interested in these people. They are interested in the people who are willing to shift depending upon the price. Now, what if Coca-Cola decides to say sale at 8 rupees? So whatever these some people were there, they will come back to them. Plus some from here will also go to the Coca-Cola. And this is how there is a game where Pepsi and Coca-Cola both are playing it to get the market share. They are interested in getting the market share. That is what the both are working for. Okay. Now moving on to how do we define that this is a game theory. So if I have to say, then there are certain things which are important. So first one is number of players. Number of players. So what are the number of players? There can be two players, two players. Okay, so this is called 2P game, or there can be n number of players, and this is called NP game. Okay, so where there are more number of players, even if it is three players, then also it will be NP, that is n number of players. Why it is so, we'll discuss it in next session. But now let us see what are the other things. So then there is something called sum of gains and losses. Sum of gains and losses. So what is a game and loss? If in a game, say two players are playing, let us say two players are playing, let us say A and B. Okay, so if there are two players playing the game A and B, so if the profit of one is equal to loss of other, then this type this type of game is called this type of game is called this type of game is called zero sum game. This type of game is called zero sum game. This type of game is called zero sum game. And if it is not, if profit is not equal to the loss of this, then it is called non-zero sum game. Non-zero sum game. To give an example for this, let us say there are only two players. Okay, and there is a duopoly. There is a duopoly, duopoly in the market. Like I'll give you an example. Let us say if we consider that there aren't any market players, then we see that there is an Airtel and then there is Jio, neglecting the customers that are using Vodafone. I'm just trying to neglect them. So if there are two players only, so there is no other third option. Say we have assuming in a particular area we have 500 subscriber and they have around 300 subscriber. So since Airtel reduced its prices, so what happened? These 300 players, 300, they jumped here and it became 700 and still hundreds are left. Okay, so in this case, what is the loss here? it is minus 200 and here it is plus 200. So whatever is gained here, whatever is lost here is equal to the game here. Okay, so then it is called a zero sum game. Zero sum game. What if I'll just erase a bit of this, okay, and we'll proceed here only. So let us say now there are, say, there is 700 people here and here it is only 50. So what is the loss from here to here? It is minus 250. But what is the gain from here to here? It is only 200. So this is not equal to this. So 200 is not equal to 250. Correct? Is not equal to 250. Then this is called non-zero sum game. Now you'll ask me, sir, how this happened when there is only two people, one is Airtel, one is Jio, and then the 250 is lost, only 50 is remaining. Then where is the other 50? They stopped using mobile. That's it. They simply stopped using mobile. They have shifted from mobile to landline or somewhere which is not included in this game. So then we say that it's a non-zero sum game. And it may be in the case of where there is not duopoly. For example, we have Pepsi, we have Coca-Cola, okay, and then we also have Parley, which have recently launched some of the drinks. So customers from Pepsi jump to Coca-Cola and then from Coca-Cola jump to Parley. Okay, so this two players will not have a zero sum game now because some of them are moving to Parley. Some of them are moving from Pepsi to Parley. So they may have a losses, but there is no increment in the Coca-Cola also. Coca-Cola is also having some losses and people are moving to Parley since it is much cheaper as compared to both of these. Okay, so then this type of sum games are called non-zero sum games. Then the next part that we'll like to cover today is strategies. Okay, so basically strategy is nothing but the possible possible steps that one can follow. Okay, in a very layman language I can say this, that one can follow. So what is a strategy? We create strategy. For example, let us say I want to get into engineering, so I have my own plans. I first try to get it into IIT. If not IIT, I go to get into NIT. If not NIT, I will get it into triple IT. If not triple IT, then I'll get to go into government college. If not in government, and then I'll go to some state universities. If not in state university, then I'll go to private college. Okay. So what are these? These are my strategies. Nothing but strategies. If this doesn't work, I will work on this. If this doesn't work, I'll go to this. If this doesn't work, I'll go to this. If this doesn't work, I go to. If this doesn't work, I'll go to this. What if this doesn't work? Don't ask me. Then you don't deserve to be an engineer. Okay. So we'll not go into this. We are still here. So we'll continue with this. So these are nothing but strategies. And then there is something called an optimal strategy. Optimal strategy. So what is an optimal strategy? Now these are not exactly the strategies, these are the destinations. Okay, so strategy is only one, to study. Now how to study may be a strategy. Okay, So whether I'm going to study from books, whether I'm going to study from notes, whether I'm going to study from YouTube, whether I'm going to study from, say, some edtech, edtech app or something, or whether I'm going to go into a coaching. So these are my strategies. From this strategy, the optimal strategy is, why I'm saying optimal strategy is self-study, because once you study, then only you can clear the exams. Is it or not? Whether you go to ebook, whether you study through notes, whether you study through YouTube, whether you study through edtech, whether you study through a coaching, whether to go to a classes, something, whatever is working for you, which helps you clear the exam, is an optimal strategy for me. Is it or not? Now when you say it to be in mathematical terms, I can put it as the value of game. Value of game. So what is the value of game? Value of game is nothing but the optimal optimal output. Optimal output. So we are interested in getting the optimal output. Now then there can be something like this, where we'll say that there is a pure strategy. So what is a pure strategy? Pure strategy is you have only one strategy and you follow it to get the desired outcome. You have only one strategy. So a pure strategy is that a player chooses to play again and again regardless of the other player strategies, referred as pure strategy. Now see, I'll put it in this way, like then there are, say, two players, as I said, A, and then there is a player B. So A will have certain strategy, B will have certain strategy. So A is relying on A1, whereas there is B1, B2, B3, B4, and so on. So B may use B1, B may use B2, B may use B3, B may use B4. Whatever the player B is using, A is going to stick with A1. Then this is called a pure strategy. Then there is something called mixed strategy. Mixed strategy. Now, what is a mixed strategy? It's very simple. So, if you have, say, A and B, you have A1, here's B1, B2, this is A1, A2, and so on. So, what player A does, he starts with A1. So, say 50% of time he is traveling with A1 strategy, then he moves to A2. So I'm just giving an example that this can be his strategy. He starts, say, for example, if we continue with our example with cricket, so we started with having being bowling with the Hardik Pandya for first 2 overs, and then we decided no, Hardik is giving a lot of runs, or there is a need to bring in Bumrah, so we called Bumrah in. Okay, and then instead of giving him two continuous over, we gave him 1 over, and then we gave it to the another person. Okay, so this type of strategy is called as mixed strategy. Okay, so now we have seen like what is a strategy, what is a mixed strategy. So in the next class, we will be starting with the two-person zero-sum game. Thank you.